What happened in the United Kingdom? Well, they couldn't shut me down. They made it very, very difficult, changing venues all the time. They didn't care about the people that bought tickets that were waiting, every moment to find out where the new venue was. They didn't care how they inconvenienced people. They had an agenda. And they just wanted to get the word out, and they didn't care how they lied about me, my family, they didn't care. So I've seen it firsthand. I've become part of it now. And that's why I'm a stronger supporter at this point in time for Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate, and always, of course, for Donald Trump, because he's a victim here. That's it, period. He's total victim. And people, I want to say this. I walk in redemption. Hey everyone, welcome to another Sit Down with Michael Franzese. Hope everybody is doing well. All is very good, very blessed on this end. As always, I give all the praise, honor, glory, and thanksgiving to God for that. Well, as you can see, I'm back in my studio. I was gone for just about 3 weeks. I went to Romania first, then the United Kingdom, then Ireland, and it was a very interesting trip, I have to tell you that. And I'm going to kind of recap that. Really starting with the Tate brothers in my trip to Romania. And I got back just in time to celebrate my birthday on Memorial Day. I first want to thank all of you out there that sent me well wishes and birthday wishes. It was really overwhelming. I really appreciate that. It was kind of humbling to have my birthday on Memorial Day. It's always on that Memorial Day weekend, and every couple of years it'll fall on Memorial Day. And I just want to give another shout out to all the families of all the military men and women that have sacrificed their lives in defense of our freedoms, in defense of our country. And some people have said to me, well, it wasn't in defense of our freedoms. Well, those that sacrificed their lives for that, that's what they thought they were doing, even though at times it might have been political, whatever. Those military people were honest in what they were doing, and they did sacrifice their lives, and we certainly owe them a lot of respect and honor, and that also goes to their families. So. But it was great. It was a great day. I was out on a boat with my family, saw my new grandson. Hadn't seen him in 3 weeks. Tough to be away from the grandkids, especially when they're, so young. Every couple of weeks, things change. He's standing up now. He's clapping his hands. He's smiling. He's got teeth. He's ready to talk. I can see it. So it's just really a blessing. We really had a great day. And, I want to recap what happened there because I've been through a lot in my life, people. I really have been. And I never thought I'd be caught up in cancel culture. But this was a very interesting trip, and I'm going to talk about it. And I first want to get to my first stop, which was Romania, and meeting with both Andrew and Tristan Tate. Now, some of you, or many of you that follow me, you've seen that I've been supportive of them over the past year or so since they got into their legal troubles. And the reason for that is very simple, because I believe in all cases, in all countries, anywhere on the planet, whether it's the law of the land or not, that you're innocent until proven guilty. That's just my position. That's been my experience. I've seen too much. I've been through too much. And I know the system quite well, whether it be here in the United States or anywhere else. I can kind of see through when you're trying to get, or when prosecution or people are trying to get defendants that have allegedly committed a crime guilty in the arena of public opinion. And I've seen that many, many times happen with me. So I understand it. So for me, you're innocent until proven guilty. Well, that position, I think, has been strongly supported by most of you. I think you understand that. The Tates have a huge following, and I think those that follow them totally understand that. But then there's the other side, who are claiming that they are misogynists, and they go off their social media comments and so on and so forth. And people, let me remind you of something. Things that might be distasteful, language that might be distasteful, doesn't always, and in most cases, doesn't ever rise to criminality. You might say things that could be offensive, but that doesn't mean it's a crime. And what we're talking about here is criminality. And what these two young men, I say young man, I'm probably twice their age, have been accused of. And it doesn't mean that they're guilty. My position has been innocent until proven guilty. And after meeting them both, I have even a stronger position of that because I saw some things. And people have been in touch with me about the Tate case that has given me reason to believe that these men are innocent. Now, I'm going to recap the visit that we had. I was with my wife and my daughter. I had security with me because they travel with me when I'm in Europe. And I had one of our representatives that was heading our tour. And they invited us into their compound in Romania. We spent a full day filming both Andrew and then Tristan. We enjoyed, wine afterwards, Franzese wine. I brought them a couple of bottles. They liked it, by the way. Andrew doesn't drink, but Tristan enjoyed it very much. As a matter of fact, you'll see evidence of that shortly. And we just had a great day. It was really great. They opened up their house. They were very respectful to myself, my wife, my daughter. They couldn't have been more accommodating. It was just a great day, and we did our interviews. Now, understand this. Many people have gone there and interviewed the Tates. So keep that in mind as I move this forward. Next day, we went out for dinner. And there again, we had a great time, and we went to a cigar lounge afterwards. You saw some photos of that. It was just a great weekend. We discussed the case and some of the details. I got a little bit more information than I already had. And I would say, all in all, it was a very good weekend. Right after that, I was on Piers Morgan's show. And I want you to watch it, because Piers agreed with me on a lot of things that I talked about concerning the Tates. He said, Michael, they're innocent until proven guilty. He said the same thing. I don't agree with all of the things that were said by Andrew and possibly Tristan. I don't agree with everything. Some of the things could be misconstrued or construed to be misogynistic. I don't agree with that. He said, but I believe they're innocent until proven guilty. So a guy of substance like Piers Morgan, tremendous interviewer, a lot of integrity, agrees with me, and I think a lot of people take that position. So moving forward from there, I now leave the Tates and I go and start my tour. Now keep in mind, the interview hadn't been posted yet. Only posting up to that point, when I left Romania and went to the United Kingdom, was a photograph of myself, my wife, my daughter, and the Tates, and then one of, I believe, me and Andrew, and one of me and Tristan. Photos, that's it, nothing more. Well, you would not believe the firestorm that it caused in the United Kingdom. There was one particular person in Parliament that came out very strongly against me. She said that I was a misogynist because I interviewed the Tates and because I supported them. There was another person in the minority, I would say, who on YouTube started to call all the venues and threaten the venues that we were having our talks in, our events in, and threaten them, that there would be problems if the events went on. They also went on to say, which was an absolute 1,000% outright lie, that in my presentation, which I've been doing for 25 years, I was going to have a video of Andrew, and Andrew was going to appear live on stage with me, not live, live through the video, and that was going to be the content of my speaking talk. It was an absolute lie. There was no truth to it whatsoever. But they started to spread that, and in that small community of haters, and that's what I'll call them, they started to spread this lie. Well, this person in Parliament, I'm not going to mention her name, you can go on YouTube, because she made statements about me in Parliament saying that I was a misogynist. Now let me stop this right there. I have a wife that I'm married to for 39 years, okay, who is very independent. I have 5 extremely independent daughters. I have granddaughters. I am anything but a misogynist. I've never been accused of that at any time, anywhere in my life. As a matter of fact, I've been accused of just the opposite, of doting over my wife. So this was ridiculous. And it was only made, that statement was only made because I interviewed Andrew and Tristan Tate, and she said I was a supporter of them. Now, as a result of that, this person contacted each and every venue that we were holding our events at. There was 8 in total, 9 in total, I should say, and threatened them that they would lose their license to operate as a business if, in fact, they held my event. Now, there was no justification for that whatsoever. What she was spreading was an absolute lie. It was false. She even said that I should be banned from a country that I've been to several times, that I've spoken at several times. The content of what I speak about is out there for everybody to see. There was no mention whatsoever of the Tates this weekend, other than to let people that bought tickets understand why we had to change venues 2, 3, or 4 times. Now, I was not going to let them close me down. And thanks to, I'll mention her name, both Ella and Sean, the promoters, they weren't going to stand for it either. So they had to go out of their way within 24 hours and find new venues so that we wouldn't disappoint people that have been holding tickets for months. And they actually were able to do that. And sometimes they had to change venues 2 or 3 times because the threats kept coming into the venue holders. So I became part of cancel culture for absolutely no reason and for false information that was being spread out there. So having this happen to me, okay, wouldn't you think that I think people are always innocent until proven guilty? I know what their agenda is. If you disagree with their ideology, if you're a threat to their ideology, well, then you're attacked. That's plain and simple. Let me compare what's going on with the Tates to what's going on with Donald Trump. Very, very current, as now closing arguments are in process in the New York State case. And I'm going to tell you something, people. Please, I don't speak out of my, you know the term. I know the law, especially in New York. I was indicted 6 times in the state of New York, once in the state of Florida. I went to trial 5 times in the state of New York, both state and federal. I know the law. I know how they operate. I know what they're capable of doing. This case with Donald Trump is an absolute sham. It's absolutely horrible. There is no case. There is no crime. And look what they're putting this man through because, I'll quote our Donald Trump, crooked Joe Biden and the White House are looking at the only way they believe they can defeat Donald Trump. Why? Because their record in the White House is nothing short of a disaster. He has no record to run on that isn't disastrous. These are very bad people. So they target an ex-president with a nonsense case in the state of New York, wasting millions of dollars of taxpayer money and going after somebody for a crime that never was committed. There is no crime, while things are running rampant on the streets of New York. Alvin Bragg should be thrown out of office. He should be prosecuted for pulling this farce on the American people, the people in the state of New York, and the American people in general, because they're trying to eliminate Donald Trump as a candidate. That's the bottom line. There is no other methodology here. This comes from the White House. Bragg has been at the White House. The orders for all of these indictments against Donald Trump are coming from the top, from the White House. So when I see this so clearly, why would I not give the benefit of the doubt to Andrew Tate and to Tristan Tate when they've been speaking up for men being men, and going against the current ideology in the United States, in Great Britain, and possibly now in Romania, it seems, because they're being charged with crimes there, and there are no crimes. Now I want to go a step further. There was a person that reached out to me during the tour in an email and said that they were one time as part of law enforcement, I'm not going to mention their name or even the country, and they had the opportunity to look at all of the evidence, alleged evidence, okay, against the Tates, and told me it was an absolute sham. There is no evidence. He told me this firsthand, and I turned this person over to the Tates because they need to know this. They know it already. But if people on the inside are saying the same thing, they need to know this. And I also want to read something, and this is terrible. It's terrible to what they're doing to this young man because of the fact that their ideology is different and that maybe some of the things they say are distasteful. I get it. I understand that. I'm going to say it, and Andrew and I are friends now. I don't agree with everything that he says. And I'm sure he doesn't agree with everything I say either. That's just the way life is. Doesn't mean that we can't be friends. Okay? And that goes for him and Tristan. I want to read something that Andrew wrote this morning on X. And tell me what your thoughts are on this. Okay, this is from Andrew this morning. Andrew Tate speaks out publicly about his case. It's been 2 years now. Quote, I invested money in Romania and they threw me in a jail cell. 2 years later, I'm still not free. I still can't leave the country. 2 years and all my money is blocked. All my cars are taken. All my assets are seized. Why is this happening? He hasn't been convicted of anything. Why are they seizing his assets? Same thing in the United States under the RICO Act. Same thing. Innocent until proven guilty, and yet they're already made these guys guilty. It's terrible. No one saw any victims on the news, not even one time. And I challenge any of you to bring something different. I've been watching this case. I haven't seen any victim cry out and say, hey, I'm a victim, I'm part of this. Not one time on the news. The only girls I can find are girls who say they are not victims. I've seen that. The government, law enforcement, the prosecution is trying to convince these girls that they're victims when they're saying they're not victims. They did this willingly. And let me tell you something. You know, these sites out there like OnlyFans and everything, Andrew and Tristan didn't create those sites. They didn't create them. The women that are on there willingly. Now, if somebody is helping them, you know, market themselves better, well, why aren't they locking up the people from OnlyFans? Why aren't they going after the guy that created it? And I don't know who that is. I have no axe to grind with him. I'm just saying, there's nothing illegal about it, obviously. I wonder if it crosses anyone's mind that after all this time that I spent, 4 months in detention, 8 months in my locked house, I was stuck in the city for several months, now I can't leave Romania. How long will this work? I often wonder if anyone considers the fact that 2 years have passed and no one has seen any victims. They were saying that they were going to put them out there. We haven't seen it yet. I sat in a cell watching the news as they said I was a bad person, that I made so much money, that I was a criminal, that I was a human trafficker. Do you know what a terrible accusation that is, to be called a human trafficker in the real sense of the word human trafficking? Do you know what a horrible allegation that is? You better have evidence to back something like that up. Not something that you're trying to paint as human trafficking or whatever. That's a horrible allegation. And you know what? The boys are very, very offended by that. And by rights, they should be. If that tag was put on me, I'd be extremely offended by it. That's a terrible accusation. And we're going to find out that wasn't true. I believe that. I was a criminal. I was a human trafficker. We were going to see all the details of the case come out 2 years later, and there were still no victims. Now, the argument can be made, well, you know, Andrew, they're not going to put it out there yet. But, you know, you do get discovery. You know, in a criminal case, you get discovery. You're allowed to see who the victims are, alleged victims, who the people that are making statements against you are. Hasn't seen it yet. So why did I compare the Tates to what's going on with Trump? Because look, Trump is against the grain. Trump is against, you know, the ideology of the people in power. Trump is against a lot of things that these minorities are yelling about. And so they're out to get him. The horrible thing in Trump's case is that they're not, Trump has said this a million times, and I totally agree with him. It's not about Trump. It's about the people in power taking away the vote of 50, 60, 70, 80 million people. They want to eliminate their choice. And they have the nerve to say that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. We have 4 years of a record of Donald Trump. How is he a threat to democracy? Instead of making these blatant statements, Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi and all of these people out there that just lie, and figure that if they lie long enough, you're going to believe it as something to be true. Where's the evidence for this? There's no truth to it whatsoever. Zero. Don't let them feed this to you. All they're trying to do is hide their horrible, disastrous record in 4 years, or 3.5 years that he's been in office, that they've been in power, that they've been in control. They're just trying to cover it up by going after Donald Trump. That's the only card that they have to play. I compare them and the Tates because I believe innocent until proven guilty, and I think it applies in both of these cases. What happened in the United Kingdom? Well, they couldn't shut me down. They made it very, very difficult, changing venues all the time. They didn't care about the people that bought tickets, that were waiting, you know, every moment to find out where the new venue was. They didn't care how they inconvenienced people. They had an agenda, and they just wanted to get the word out, and they didn't care how they lied about me, my family. They didn't care. So I've seen it firsthand. I've become part of it now. And that's why I'm a stronger supporter at this point in time for Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate, and always, of course, for Donald Trump, because he's a victim here. That's it, period. He's total victim. And people want to say this. I like both of them. I really mean that. They were honest with me. I think if you look at my interview or sit down with Andrew, it was great. And the comments have been overwhelmingly positive. Overwhelmingly positive. And in Tristan's case, the same thing. He talked more about the case, and I think you should listen to it. I really do. Before you convict somebody because of social media statements or things like that that you might find to be distasteful, okay, back up. Back up. They deserve their day in court, and they're going to get it, and I think all of this is going to come out. And I told them, I said, listen, don't take these people for granted. They will fight, they will lie, they will be underhanded, they'll do everything. Be very active in defending your case. Don't leave any stones unturned. You have to fight hard. I know this. I saw my dad get railroaded, and that's why in all my criminal cases, I was very actively involved with my attorney, with my investigator, and that's how you have to do it. You know, there's no other way. So, we got through the tour. I have to tell you, people, the people of the United Kingdom were just wonderful. I really mean that. They were wonderful. I just was so overwhelmed by the positive responses we got, that the interaction that we had with everybody. They were so understanding of what was going down. You know, we had standing room only crowds at every event. So it backfired, you know, for them trying to destroy my tour. They made it very difficult. My wife and daughter, we had to move around more. It was a tough one, but we weren't going to let them defeat us. And my wife and daughter were very supportive of that because they understand the system also. So it was great. We went on to Belfast. Love the Irish people. It was terrific again. Once again, we had such a great time with them. They're fun-loving people. We had a great venue. We were at a gym. We had to get to a gym with people that didn't care about, you know, the pressure or the threats for the licenses being removed. They were terrific there. I met with a fellow by the name of Paul Ferris, who was an ex-criminal. He calls himself that, so I can say that. Wonderful guy. You know, he's reformed himself. He does a lot of good in the community. And the group of men that he had around him were terrific. So we had a great time in Belfast. Then we moved up to Dublin. What a great city. We hadn't been there before, but I love the city of Dublin. Once again, people wonderful, just so happy. They're just happy. Great. And then we had the privilege and honor, I would say, of meeting with Conor McGregor. He was terrific. He has a restaurant and a club called the Black Forge. And he's in training. He's going to fight on June 29th. I'm going to be at the fight. I got an invitation from him, me and my family, so we're looking forward to that. He looks like he's in great shape. He's training twice a day, you know, and he did take time, not out of his training, in between his training period, to come and visit with me and my family. And he was very outgoing, just wonderful guy. I really enjoyed meeting with him. And that's he's in tune with all the Irish that I've met there. Just great people. The night after that, Sunday, he had a big thing at his club that night. It was kind of a special event. We went, he was there that night, took a little time off for a minute for his training. He didn't drink, at least not in front of me, and he was just so outgoing with all the people there. I understand why people in town really love him. You know, he supports the people there. I understand he does a lot of good for people in the community and the neighborhood. So we had a great time and really enjoyed meeting with him. So it was a great trip all around, people. And, you know, it's so nice to be in a position that I'm in where I can go around the world and, you know, just really tell my story. Hopefully encourage people, give them information that's important to them. I thank all of you on my YouTube platform that keep tuning in. I thank all of my new subscribers and people that have come on board since speaking with Andrew and Tristan. You know, I really appreciate you coming on board. Hopefully you stay and enjoy the content that we're going to provide. We always try to give you something of value. While I was there, okay, I had the opportunity to speak with, through Zoom, Tulsi Gabbard. For those of you that don't know who she was a Democrat in Congress. She later switched. She's now independent, I would say. And she was terrific. I have a lot of respect for this woman. I'm going to get into it. You're going to see the podcast, and I'll do more about her in my introduction to her. But what a classy lady. What a knowledgeable lady. She is being considered right now for vice president. I can tell you this. Trump's got some good people in mind. A person like Tulsi Gabbard, if we really want the next woman to be a president, She'd be a great selection for vice president and be groomed for the job because she has a great handle on the topics today that are really relevant to all of us, not only here, but around the world. So stay tuned. My interview with her will be coming up. So people, that's it for today. I just wanted to wrap up. And I think, you know, this conversation about Tristan and Andrew, it's very relevant because it shows what's going on in the world today. This cancel culture nonsense that I have to credit a lot of people. You're getting to see what this is all about. You really are. I see heads turning. I see opinions turning. You know, I got great news today that, you know, Trump is closing the gap in New York. That minorities, you know, African Americans, Latinos are starting to see through all of the Biden garbage. That's all I can call it. This guy is a pathological liar. He does nothing but cause chaos and ruination. All he cares about is his base and satisfying his elitist base. You know, the Democrats, okay, were once the blue collar, you know, party. They cared about the working people. No more. Don't let them fool you or pull the wool over your eyes. They are the elitist party right now. It's the Republicans that are looking to help the working class. Trust me on that, people. And again, I have no horse in this game. You know what my horse is in this race, I should say? Making a better future, preserving a better America for my children and grandchildren. That's all I care about. I'm 73. How much more time do I got? I don't know. But my children, my grandchildren, it's their future. That's the horse in the race for me. And that's why I'm supporting Trump, because he's the guy. And all of this talk about, you know, about democracy being destroyed, where? We have a 4-year record of his to look at. Where did he destroy democracy? This is nonsense. Don't let them feed you this nonsense. Anybody that's telling you that is trying to pull the wool over your eyes and distract you from the garbage that's been going on for 3.5 years in this administration. So, hope you enjoyed this podcast. We're back on track now. I am leaving for New Jersey. I have a big event there with Franzese wine. Very excited. We're in the United Kingdom now. We'll be in Australia shortly. And we are moving dramatically across America. And a big announcement pretty soon with Slices Pizza. Not going to do it yet, but pretty soon I think people are going to be pretty excited about it. That's it for today, my people, my friends, all my followers. How do I always leave you? Same way, never going to change. Be safe. Need I say more? Be healthy, and God bless each and every one of you and your families. And yes, I'll see you next time. Take care.